Can you imagine a time where knowledge was a fortress, guarded by the high walls of the elite? A time when the few who held the keys to this power, royalty, the church, and the wealthy, ruled with an unchallenged grip. A dark time when the masses lived and died in a world of ignorance because their eyes never saw the light of the knowledge and wisdom that could set them free. So you don't have to imagine. The Dark Ages were a 500-year time period in history that followed the fall of the Roman Empire, which was marked by a severe drought in economic, cultural, social, scientific, and philosophical advancement. But as the pages of history turned, there came a revolution in the collective consciousness. It was a rebirth of the human potential, the Renaissance. A time period that saw an explosion of art, science, philosophy, and cultural advancement. Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Galileo, Shakespeare, Descartes, Machiavelli, and among them, Johannes Gutenberg, the father of the printing press. See, the printing press would change the course of history, and it became the spark that lit the wildfire which was the Renaissance. Because what this simple machine did was democratize knowledge. See, this invention opened the gates which guarded knowledge for centuries. Books, which were once as rare and as valuable as the most precious jewels, now were able to be multiplied and found their way into the hands of the people. But you didn't come here for a history lesson. So why am I telling you all of this? And that is because history repeats itself. As I speak these words to you, we are standing on the verge of a new kind of renaissance. The digital renaissance. With every click, every swipe, every connection, you are witnessing history being written in real time. The internet, the printing press of our time, has the power to bestow incredible freedom, to create wealth, for ideas to reach across the globe in an instant. And the invention of the internet took democratized knowledge and it globalized it. The internet is a tool that can elevate the minds and ideas of the creators, the thinkers, the dreamers, to heights that were completely undreamt of by those great thinkers of the Renaissance era. But, just as in the old days, this power comes with a choice. To remain in the dark and distracted by the endless stream of consumption, or to step into the light as a digital Renaissance person, to not just witness history, but to write it, to transform from passive consumer to active creator. And that is what this video is about. And my aim is to share with you a few principles that will help you take advantage of this immense opportunity that is in front of you to thrive in the digital age and ultimately use this tool to build a beautiful life with meaningful work, with abundance of wealth, of relationships. Because that is what the internet enables you to do, but only if you use it correctly. And ultimately, that's what this channel is about. So if you're new here, my name is Mikey, and I make videos to help you and me live the good life. To me, that means entrepreneurship in the digital age. It means building abundant and beautiful relationships. It means meaningful work, and it means taking control of your mind and framing it in a way that helps you and serves you rather than works against you. So if you're into high-level personal development, I hope my videos serve you, and I hope you consider subscribing. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So in this video, I'm going to cover 3 principles, and it is important that you go through these in order and really try to understand and heed the words that I'm going to say in each one of these, because if you can apply them, it will truly transform your life and it'll transform the way you see the internet. I want to put things into perspective for you, because when we talk about any of these historical time periods, right, like the Renaissance, the Dark Ages, the Enlightenment period, modernity, industrialization, we are talking in centuries, right? We are talking about 200, 300, 500-year time periods, okay? That is how history unfolds. I want you to realize this. The internet was only made available in 1983. That was 40 years ago. Google was invented in 1998. It was 25 years ago. Facebook, invented in 2004. 19 years ago. I mean, none of these things are even 50 years old. Think about that. There are literally millions of people in the world living today who experienced life without phones, without the internet, without Google, without Facebook, social media, content creation, AI, There's people who never experienced that still alive today in this world. Let that sink in. This is incredibly new. You are still early. All of this crazy growth that we've seen in the economy, in technology, in scientific advancement, in culture, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Uber, Airbnb, YouTube, Twitter, iPhones, the creator economy, artificial intelligence, all of it. It's all new. You are still early. You are witnessing an inflection point in history. And the people who are early adopters win. There's a concept in the world of business called first mover advantage. It basically describes a company that gains a massive competitive advantage by simply being the first to bring in a new product or service to the market. So all of these companies, all of these creators that you've seen blow up in the last 10, 20 years, they might not be as skillful or better than you think they are. They're a byproduct of first mover advantage. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to dismiss the great ideas and thinkers and abilities of these people. Of course, they're talented, but a large part of their success is just timing the market. And guess what? I'm saying all of this to give you hope, because you're still early. If you decide to take action now, you can still ride this massive growth curve of the digital renaissance. But you have to start taking action now, right? We might be early in the inflection point of this moment in history, but you're still gonna die in the next 80 years. So you have to take action, but you'll only be able to do that if you don't fall into one of the greatest traps of our time: the internet itself. See, the internet is like a double-edged sword. On one hand, it is an incredibly powerful tool with the power to connect us with millions across the globe, for allowing us to serve millions across the globe in an instant. It has given us free, or at least very affordable, access to all of the best knowledge and ideas in the history of mankind. But at the same time, it is also a very powerful tool for mass distraction. See, it's very easy to get caught in an endless loop of mindless consumption, cheap entertainment, and polarizing ideologies. I mean, consider this. We have free access to all of the best knowledge, all of the best ideas, and all of the best content that has been created in the history of mankind, and it's literally one click away. Yet most people consume content that has been made in the last 24 hours. Let that sink in. This is an amazing idea that I learned from a digital writer called David Perel. The structure for social media feeds place us in a never-ending now. Like hamsters running on a wheel, we live in an endless cycle of ephemeral content consumption. A merry-go-round that spins faster and faster, but barely goes anywhere. Stuck in the fury of the present, we're swept up in the dizzying chaos like leaves in a gale-force wind. Even though on the internet, we're just one click away from the greatest authors of all time. From Plato to Tolstoy, we default to novelty instead of timelessness. We are trapped in a never-ending now, blind to our place in history, engulfed in the present moment, overwhelmed by the slightest breeze of chaos. But how do we avoid the never-ending now? How do we wield the internet's tremendous powers without falling into its traps? And the answer is actually a lot simpler than you might think. And it is simply making a mental shift from consumer to creator. Now, let me make something very clear here, because I am not saying that everyone has to start creating content and everyone has to become a YouTuber or start posting TikToks or start writing on Twitter or newsletter or whatever. Okay? That's not what I'm saying at all. Because even though I'm a very small channel, I've already had some comments saying, oh, you're just telling people how to make money online and telling them to become a guru and sell courses, bro. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. If that's what you've gathered from this video, you have grossly misunderstood me. And to be honest, I want to, smack the shit out of you. Wake up, because that is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that we are witnessing a moment in history, an inflection point. The point that I'm trying to make is much broader than that. The point that I'm trying to make is that if you don't learn how to leverage this tool correctly and use it to your advantage, you will get left behind. Okay. Got carried away there. So, what I am really saying is that there's 4 levers of modern wealth creation. Okay? Labor, capital, content, and code. Now, back in the day, the only 2 ways to build wealth was through labor and through capital, right? Labor, think about Rockefeller in the oil industry, Andrew Carnegie, the steel industry, Henry Ford, car manufacturing. You needed to pay for other people's time in order for them to work for you and therefore multiply your output, right? It was labor leverage. Or if you want to go back even further into history, into the Egyptians, the Romans, the Ottomans, it was labor. It was slavery, right? It was unpaid labor, but it was still labor. That was what multiplied their wealth. The other way to make money back in the day was through have money in the first place and then multiply it through intelligent investment, or maybe get money from someone else, right? Someone invested in you. And these are the JP Morgans, the Warren Buffetts, right? So labor and capital, that's old money. But now, as in literally the last 50 years, we have 2 new multipliers, content and code. And the beauty of these 2 is that they are permissionless.
The most interesting and the most important form of leverage is this idea of products that have no marginal cost of replication. This is the new form of leverage. This was only invented in the last few hundred years. It got started with the printing press, it accelerated broadcast media, and now it's really blown up with the internet and with code. So now you can multiply your efforts without having to involve other humans and without needing money from other humans. Probably the most interesting thing to keep in mind about the new forms of leverage is they are permissionless. They don't require somebody else's permission for you to use them or succeed. For labor leverage, somebody has to decide to follow you. For capital leverage, somebody has to give you money to invest or to turn into a product. But coding, writing books, recording podcasts, tweeting, YouTubing, these kinds of things, these are permissionless. You don't need anyone's permission to do them. And that's why they're very egalitarian. They're great equalizers of leverage.
So hopefully you realize now that I am by no means saying you need to make an online course and go sell it, right? Although I mentioned that in my last video, that is just one tiny substrate of a much broader point that I'm trying to make here, right? These tools, content and code, are the multipliers of modern day wealth creation, and they are the cutting edge. You need to stay on top of them. You need to learn how to leverage them in your life, regardless of what your profession, occupation, or passions are, in order to multiply your output, right? It doesn't matter if you're a realtor, if you're a lawyer, if you're a plumber. It literally does not matter what you do, but there is a way to incorporate these tools in order to do what you do at a much larger scale. And it is permissionless. That is the beauty of modern wealth creation. That is the beauty of this digital renaissance era that we're living in. But using these tools correctly comes first from a mindset shift, like I was just saying. And that mindset shift is the old saying that during a gold rush, don't dig for gold, sell the shovels. Right? That's it. That's what we're talking about here. Right? That shift from consumer to creator simply is a lens to view the world that will open your eyes to all the possibilities. That's what this comes down to. And this is an idea that I'm reverberating from the author MJ DeMarco in his book Millionaire Fastlane. Essentially, whenever you see an advertisement, a new software, a new app, a new product launch, whenever you see someone starting to create content, posting tweets, creating a newsletter, you need to ask yourself critical questions. Don't consume mindlessly. Ask yourself, how does this company make money? What is the aim of their message? What kind of psychological pulleys are they leveraging? How does this work? What kind of systems do they have in place? Oh, that's how much their course or product cost? I wonder what softwares they need to make that work. Oh, that means they have a 70 or 80% profit margin. Think like a producer. Think like a creator. Don't think like a consumer. So, I'll give you an incredible example. You know Iman Gaji. You've probably heard of him. He's the largest influencer in the finance / make money online space. He has 3.6 million subscribers. If you haven't heard of him, he just teaches people how to start a social media marketing agency and make money online. Now, the average person, the normie, the consumer would watch his content and be like, okay, this is how you make $10,000 a month. Okay. Step 1, read this book. Okay, read this book. Think and Grow Rich. Okay. Step 2, stop touching your dick. Okay. So I'm gonna stop touching my dick. Step 3, don't touch your phone in the morning. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna touch. Oh, fuck. It is the morning. Okay. Tomorrow. Right? A producer, a creator, looks at his content, analyzes it, and thinks critically. Right? He looks at his content and sees, he has 3.6 million subscribers on YouTube, but he has no calls to action in his videos. He has no links in his bio. He only promotes his product or his course 2 to 3 times a year. Why? That's really interesting. A creator thinks, wow, his videos look like Netflix documentaries. That was a really sick animation. How do I do that? Let me go watch an After Effects tutorial. Let me learn how to light my videos better. A creator, I think you get the point by now. You have to analyze, think critically. Don't just consume mindlessly. Ask how and why people are doing the things that they do. Right? This is what I was going to say. Iman Gaji, I heard him say in a podcast, he literally has 3 full-time thumbnail designers on payroll. So for every video he makes, he creates 15 different thumbnails. Interesting. What does that tell you about the importance of thumbnails and packaging in a YouTube video? Right? So start consuming content differently. Don't just look at it from a lens of a consumer. You need to be a producer. And this doesn't just go for content. I mean, it goes for content consumption, but it goes for the world of business. It goes for everything. It's a mindset shift, but it will severely serve you. But in order to make that mindset shift, there's 2 important principles that you must follow. And the first is always be building. At all moments of your life, at all stages of your life, you must have a project to build, a objective, a mission, a goal. You have to have something that you're constantly building and work towards, because that then becomes the lens through which you filter information. If you don't have anything that you're actively working towards, all of the information that comes in is going to go out the other ear. It's useless. You can't process it properly. But if you're building something, if you're actively starting a new business, if you're actively trying to build the body of your dreams, if you're actively, whatever it is you're doing, if you have a project in mind, a goal, an objective, that information gets processed through that lens, and then it will help you reach that target. To give you an example, when I was 16 or 17, and all that my brain could think about was, man, how do I attract women? How do I talk to girls? All of the content that I would consume on how to dress better, how to groom, how to do skincare, how to talk, how to be charismatic, psychology, all of these things that I was learning got filtered through the lens of how do I talk to more women? How do I attract women? Right? Because that was the project, that was the mission, the objective at that moment of my life. Now, if I consume that same kind of content of how to dress better, psychology, etc., it will get filtered through the lens of, if I look sharp, if I know how to speak articulately, that will really open doors for me in the world of business. That will help me reach more people with my videos. So whatever it is that you're working towards, that becomes the filter through which you process information, right? So it's not necessarily about the project that you're working towards has to be the thing in your life that's going to make you rich, or the thing that's going to change your life, heal your relationships, whatever. It doesn't matter, to be honest. Like, there's different stages of life, right? It just means you have to consistently be working towards something. You have to consistently be improving yourself, because it is through those mini life experiments, through that constant iteration and constant process of becoming the best version that you can be, it is then that you can serve the world and express love to others through your unique combination of skills, experiences, and attributes, right? Which is, in my eyes at least, the purpose of life, right? Serving others through our unique skill set and abilities. The second principle to be able to shift from consumer to creator is what I like to call the art of conscious curation. Now, we live in a modern world where there's all sorts of ideologies and worldviews and business models, opportunities, all of these shiny objects get thrown at us left, right, and center, right? And because we live extensively in the digital world, it is very easy to get polarized into different ways of thinking. It is very easy to give up your critical thinking abilities and just assume what people are saying on the internet is correct because they're on your screen, right? So your ability to consciously curate the information that you're consuming and use it in a way that serves you rather than polarizes you and sends you down stupid rabbit holes is probably the most powerful skill that you can develop, right? So even me right now, you shouldn't just take the things I say and take them as truth, like I'm like here preaching. Analyze what I'm saying, think critically about it, question it, right? This should be obvious, but I think it's worth mentioning. Now, I've made a whole other video on this point that I think could really serve you if this is something that you struggle with. I lay out my entire framework on how I process my inputs and how I use that to create stuff in my life. Because, like I said, this is one of the highest leverage skills that you can learn in today's world. Conscious content consumption, conscious curation of the inputs that we feed our mind, right? So if you're interested in learning more about that, you should check out that video. It's called The Art of Conscious Curation. But that's it for this video. I hope this served you. I hope this helped you. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week. Peace.